With the new year comes a brand new patch for Civilization 7, and with it comes the addition of, in my opinion, one of the most exciting leaders for Civ 7 yet. That is Gilgamesh, a fan favorite and someone that I am very excited to be playing with. I'm looking forward to doing a complete playthrough for him in the upcoming video, but in this video we're going to be talking about the brand new patch, which I'll be going through. Of course, I'll be flashing it up on the screen whenever it's relevant, and in the second part of this video we're going to be talking about Gilgamesh, because to be honest, this patch is a little bit smaller in scope, because obviously they've got a lot that's going to be coming up shortly with their newest patch, or what's it called, Test of Time, something like that. That's going to be absolutely massive, so this one is not as big. But anyway, let's get into it. We got a two-parter for today. So, update 1.3.2 notes for February 3. Update 1.3.2 is rolling out now on all platforms. It's been a little while since our last update. While our update cadence has been a little light recently, it's because the team is deep in the trenches on a major update we're calling Test of Time, coming this spring. We're currently heads down on some of the biggest systemic overhauls we've ever attempted, including a total rework of victories and the option to play as one civilization through every age. These are massive efforts, and we're taking the time to ensure they land exactly where they need to. You can read all about those long-term plans in our deep dive article here, and they've linked it over here. So, of course, I'll leave a link down in the description if you'd like to check that out. Even so, we didn't want to wait until spring to bring you some of the things that we've been asking for. That you've been asking for. Update 1.3.2 rolls out today, and as a thank you for all the support we've received from our community this past year, we're bringing back a fan favorite to the roster. Gilgamesh is now available for all Civ 7 players for free. Anyway, let's get into it. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of this, and we'll start off with the feature spotlight. Obviously, Gilgamesh is returning. We're playing him here in this game, and I just gotta say, he is such an interesting leader. I really think that there's two ways that you can play him. The first one is very much a peaceful approach, which is obviously the approach that I prefer, just because I find war a bit tedious when you've got hundreds of units, not hundreds, but dozens of units, and you're trying to move across. Then the second way is obviously where you've got like one ally, and then from there you basically just look to go to war with people. And I think that that is going to be a more powerful way to play him, just because there's a lot of synergies that I can see with this leader. So we'll come back to him at the end of the video, in the second part, where we'll talk more about Gilgamesh. But for now, we'll actually focus on some of the other changes, which specifically is the nested tooltips. So you will actually see that quite often throughout this video that we're watching behind this playback. I played a game a little bit earlier today, very, very fun. And it's great to see these nested tooltips. So essentially allowing you to go in and view something and then see what it's specifically referencing. So if we take a look here at the example they're giving for the nested tooltips, you'll see that they're clicking into the Temple of Jupiter. It's a little bit hard to see on your screen, I appreciate. And then they're clicking into the unique building, and it's giving them more information about that. So this is really, really nice to see. So they've said with update 1.3.2, we added the first pass of a new feature we're very excited about, called Nested Tooltips. Nested Tooltips are an upgrade to our current tooltips, allowing them to turn game terms into links that provide further information when inspected. Now, there's not, I will just say, there's not a huge amount of like nesting upon nesting upon nesting. It's not like that, but it's enough for the moment. We'll say that right now. Civ 7 is a deep game with lots of concepts that are new to the series, like warehouse bonuses and concepts that have been around for a long time, which we often take for granted, like wonders. With this update, we're upgrading our tooltips so that concepts like warehouses and wonders can be inspected to get a new tooltip with a brief explanation about that concept. There's still more detailed information to be found in the Civilopedia, but these brief explainers are easier to access in the moment when you need a quick introduction or refresher on what exactly something does. Being able to nest information helps us make tooltips more concise, and we've taken advantage of this opportunity to graphically refresh the affected tooltips. I have noticed the tooltips seem a little bit bigger, and I haven't found a way to actually make my UI smaller. I play with a 4K screen. You can see right here, like, the tooltip is very big. It's a good thing, and it's also a bad thing. It's great because if you're sitting 3 meters away from your screen, you can still read it. But it's yeah, it's difficult when you're sitting quite close to your screen, and I feel like there's not enough things for me to choose on my screen. I'm definitely scrolling quite a lot, so maybe I've missed the option to reduce the scale of my UI. Anyway, this feature is something that we're still actively working on. We want to get the first iteration of it into your hands right away so you can let us know how it feels. Unsurprisingly, Civ games have a lot of text, so we're doing this in phases. So we're focused on populating the tech tree and civic choosers as well as the production list tooltips first, because these are the places where having more information to as you make those big decisions is the most helpful. They've also got a new appeal lens. Now, I will say, in this game, I think I used it once just kind of for the memes, just to see what it feels like, just the tip. As I mentioned in the previous video that I posted, I can appreciate when something like this might actually get used, especially towards the late game. But in the early stages of the game, happiness is something that's really not that significant, especially, you know, breathtaking, charming tiles. I tell you what, if you put that in on a quiz, I don't think I'd even get the names of those two right, if it weren't for the fact that they've carried over from previous Civ games. But they've said with regard to that, as we continue to evaluate happiness and set the foundation for bigger upcoming changes, we're working to ensure players always have the information they need to read the game. With this update, we're presenting a new appeal lens. This new strategic tool is designed to help you quickly identify which tiles are breathtaking or charming and even help you spot natural wonders. Along with this new tool in your tool belt, we've added a new one to ours. Previously, you could either be appealing or not. Appealing tiles provide happiness and the yield for happiness scaled by age. Now appealing tiles come in two types, charming and breathtaking. Charming tiles provide base happiness, while breathtaking tiles provide increased happiness, and this value no longer scales by age. Now, I will actually say I did notice this. I played a game, this is just one of the games I played. I played like 3 different games. And one of the games I played, I had a navigable river start, and I noticed that I was getting 2 happiness on the navigable river, and I was trying to work out where did this come from, but it's right here, the fact that you can now get breathtaking tiles from the very beginning of the game. So who knows, maybe this is actually a little bit more relevant. Maybe this change, I don't know if the appeal lens is really going to change too much, but it was definitely noticeable having the early happiness rolling in. Very easy to get those those golden edges, those celebrations. So yes, quite nice. Charming tiles provide base happiness. Breathtaking tiles provide increased happiness. So it's 2. Is the big key there. And this is especially powerful for leaders like Jose Rizal. We hope you use the appeal lens to help answer these questions throughout your empire building. Will I get the happiness I need to support the specialists and buildings in my growing cities? Do I want to prioritize expansion towards high-value natural wonders? And do I want to earn happiness to trigger more celebrations quickly? Normally, these questions aren't that relevant. Maybe like prioritizing expansion towards high-value natural wonders, but yeah. Anyway, let's take a look at the update notes that we have got now. So update notes for gameplay. So they've changed the coastal raid action for naval units, updating it to behave more like the pillage action. Naval units can still coastal raid the tile that they're on, as well as adjacent tiles, but they no longer have the option to pillage. Coastal raid can still be used to activate discoveries at range and capture districts. Coastal raiding now provides yields based on the tile being raided, matching yields gained when pillaging that tile. Coastal raid now also benefits from abilities that increase pillage yields. Effects that are intended to only trigger on pillaging on land will specify land units in their description. I'll be honest with you, I don't actually know a whole lot about what this change does, but they've got left a dev note here that says, we made this change to reduce the redundancy and confusion when naval units had access to both coastal raid and pillage. We also took this opportunity to refine how these 2 actions really worked. Okay, so essentially just kind of merging them is what I suspect, and then just changing the way that they work slightly. But I guess for me, somebody who rarely plays water militarily, it probably doesn't make too much of a difference, but I'm curious if you'll notice it. To support this change, the following content was updated. Iceland's Drottningholm tradition and Vikinger were updated. Drovkavet naval units grant culture equal to 50% of pillage yields and healing, and the Vikinger Iceland unique heavy naval unit grants science equal to 25% of pillage yields and healing. So there's no more coastal raiding, I think is what they're saying. I'll be real with you. I need to go in and like read the Civlopedia to understand that, man. They've also updated the descriptions of wonders, social policies, and command promotions. So they've obviously talked about the appeal lens already. So we'll take a look and see exactly what they've said. So their appeal effect on happiness has been updated. The way a tile's appeal is calculated is unchanged. Appeal is no longer binary and now has levels. Tiles can be average, charming, or breathtaking. Appeal level determines how much happiness a tile provides, and happiness from appealing tile no longer scales by age. So I don't know exactly how it's calculated, but I do remember initially the way that it worked when we were trying to assess like which tiles get happiness and which tiles don't. They need to have adjacency with 3 either water tiles, forest tiles, or mountain tiles. That's the key. So if you've got an adjacency to 3 navigable river tiles, then you'll get happiness. If you've got like adjacency to 2 forests and a mountain, you will get an adjacency for that tile. That was how it worked. I don't know how it works with regard to breathtaking and charming, so we might have to do a little bit of a deep dive into that and just see how impactful it can be. We've also got changes to the AI. So AI behavior around diplomacy gameplay has been updated. Diplomatic leaders will more properly use the military sabotage action unlocked in the diplomatic attribute tree. Militaristic leaders will more properly use, use the open the gates espionage during war and put more influence towards war support, which is definitely a smart move, but it's also quite scary because already I felt like it could be a bit oppressive when you took on more than one war in like exploration or modern, and now they're going to even throw more war support towards that. You're going to be very unhappy. So maybe this definitely ties into the whole concept of like happiness, you know, the appeal. Maybe happiness becomes a little bit more relevant with the leaders now going to be putting a bit more war support towards it. All leaders befriend independence slightly more often. I already felt like they already did, but okay. Individual leaders have had specific biases adjusted to better support their gameplay. Leaders affected include Ben Franklin, Edward Teach, Harriet Tubman, Himiko Queen of War, Ibn Battuta, Jose Rizal, Lafayette, Machiavelli, Napoleon Emperor, Saida Al-Hura, and Trung Trak. Leaders with city-state-centered gameplay more properly suzerain and incorporate city-states. Leaders affected include Lakshmabai and Tecumseh. Leaders with personas have had their personalities slightly differentiated to vary gameplay. Leaders affected include Ashoka, Frederick, Himiko, and Xerxes. Civs have had specific biases adjusted to better support their gameplay. Okay, interesting, because biases is quite a relevant factor to balance. So civs affected include Greece, Shawnee, Siam, Tonga, Prussia, America, Great Britain, and Spain. So we'll have to have a look and see whether or not this is referring to starting biases, because normally the leader has got a specific bias related to their persona or related to themselves. And then the Civ has a bias based on where it would spawn, right? Russia is going to spawn in tundra. Greece normally spawned with rough tiles, and that was part of the reason why they were very strong in the early stages of Civ 7 when the meta first dropped. We've also got some changes to diplomacy. Players will now correctly lose the +1 gold effect from Pirate Haven when losing a trade route by declaring war. Economy. Changed rural district to just rural on various tooltips. Effects, descriptions, and encyclopedic articles for better consistency with gameplay logic. These tiles are now simply referred to as rural to avoid confusion with districts or urban tiles. This is one of those things where it's like your cognitive anchoring. I don't know about you, but for me, this is something I often talk about when our brains attach to the very first piece of information that we get, and it's very hard to let go of that. And the example that I use is the house that I moved into, like the house that I'm currently living in. 4 years ago, we moved into this house, and my wife put all of the forks and the spoons and the knives in this one specific drawer. And then the very next day, she moved them into another drawer across like the way. Anyway, for the last 4 years that we've lived here, every single time I need a spoon or a knife or a fork, I'm going straight to that first drawer, and it won't get out of my head. And I reckon I'll be 50 years old and I'll still be doing the same thing. And I guess that's part of the reason why, because for me, like with rural district and like the whole concept of district, my head is still very much attached to the fact that they were calling these rural districts, and you had your, what was it? Yeah, there was the rural districts, and then there was the other types of districts. I can't even remember. Urban districts, there we go. Urban districts. So, yeah, to be honest, I feel like, this is definitely a good change. I don't know whether or not it's going to help me, and probably quite a few other people. Anyway, dev note, we wanted effects like these to be, as part of this change, the effects of both Qajar's Kararakasi tradition and Saida Al-Hura's leader ability, Hakima Tatwan, now match their descriptions and only apply to urban districts. Ah, that's why. So it wasn't a bug, it was actually intended. It was just that it was intended to not have all of that effect. Basically, it was affecting even the rural districts, which we'll just call rural tiles now, I guess. Dev note, we wanted effects like these to be impactful and easily understood while also not creating odd incentives. As we ramp up to bigger changes, expect us to unify language, make things clearer, and occasionally change abilities such as these to fit better. As always, we'll be monitoring balance for Qajar and Saida Al-Hura and make adjustments when necessary. We've also got another change. Players no longer fail to receive +2 culture from ongoing diplomatic projects when the Ecclesia Mastery has been completed and diplomatic project has been started. This is, Ecclesia is the Greek unique mastery, which is very important. So did we fail to receive +2 culture from ongoing diplomatic projects? I didn't realize that, but a diplomatic project is it's the one specific to the city center, right? So even then, I'm going to have to look into that. Added production adjacency from wonders for factories in Modern. Very cool. Riches of the Duat will no longer provide a +20% production bonus when constructing a wonder in a city not located in desert terrain. I don't know if this was a bug or if this is a balance change, but look, any nerfs to Egypt are definitely going to be welcome. Egypt is insanely strong when it comes to their ability to just scale and snowball. Absolutely overpowered, even with their nerfs previously. So hopefully this brings them a little bit more in line. The bonuses from the Freyfaxahamar storylet are no longer given as a global yield when selected. The bonus now correctly applies only towards settlements that are following the player's religion. The Anjuvanam unique building no longer fails to receive adjacency bonus from coastal tiles when slotting the Shusi Kukubo tradition. I'm going to assume that this is probably Exploration Age. That's my assumption. I don't know which civilization though. Ageless fortified districts no longer lose health and wall defense bonuses when transitioning to the following age. Very cool. All right, then we've got military changes. Military. Communism no longer spawns naval range units instead of land ranged units when completed in the civic tree. Naval units with the pirate ability are no longer able to be attacked through fortified districts when targeted by neutral units. Military naval units can now properly capture a fortified tile when the tile has all buildings pillaged. The Donjon unique quarter no longer gives an extra chevalier unit when the Normans reconquer a settlement with a completed Donjon unique quarter, and addressed a reported storylet issue causing army commanders to disappear after gaining the reward. Finally, for miscellaneous, we improved transition VFX for naval units and addressed a visual issue affecting Shawnee's unique unit, the Kalini. Excuse me. All right, leaders and civs. Not a lot of changes here. Leaders, we've got, obviously, Gilgamesh has been added. Civs, we've got the Mughals that have had some changes. Now, I'm not going to go over these. If you want to pause, feel free to have a read, just simply because I don't play Modern enough for this to be relevant to me. Dai Viet, I'm pretty sure, is Dai Viet in Exploration? I'd have to double check, but I think it just goes to show. French Empire. And we've got some changes here as well. And then finally, some changes to the UI. I'm a big fan of the UI. Civilopedia added a new entry for the Skirmish ability. Added a new entry for the Poison ability. Walls now properly state that they cannot be built on rural tiles. Added a new entry for Trade Range. Oh my god, they finally added the Trade Range entry. Oh my lord, Bose. I'm going to have to get in contact. Somebody call Bose right now and let him know. His mission on Earth has been completed. There is now an entry for Trade Range. Do you think it's accurate, though? Because Trade Range is absolutely, like, oh, man, I'm telling you. Whew, Trade Range is not fun to play with. It is so weird. God, I was going to do a video on trade, and then I got to the point where I was like, there are so many things that are happening that I can't explain that I don't feel confident showing you what is happening on Trade Range. Like, that was essentially it, because there's so many factors. Like, the trade range is like, let's say 10 tiles, okay? And if you build a city that's like 50 tiles away, right? And then you build another city that's like, that's 10 tiles away, it will then connect that 10-tile city to the main city, but it will also connect the 50-tile city to your 10-tile city. And sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does. Sometimes it will work over navigable rivers, sometimes it won't. Sometimes it will go around navigable rivers, sometimes it won't. Like, I got no idea, bro. I got absolutely no idea. It's so spaghettied. So, yeah, I would love to see them much more clearer on that. I'm going to have to double check that trade range entry, though. That's exciting. The entry for attributes now mentions wildcard attributes as well. They've also added some controller-specific stuff, which we're not going to read because we don't play with a controller, but if you do, feel free to pause the video right now. And then, of course, we'll take a look at general added turns until next celebration underneath the government icon in the HUD. Lovely to see. Added red outline around the unit flag of hostile city-states. Previously, this only showed for hostile independent powers. Oh, that's why it disappeared. I was trying to work that out. Now that makes sense. Addressed a reported issue leading to inconsistent ordering in civic trees. Okay. The Wonder Quote for World's Fair will now properly appear. When clicking your leader portrait while in the diplomacy menu, it will now open your diplomacy screen to the last opened tab. Very cool. District health bar is no longer missing when reloading a save with a destroyed district. Promotion options no longer remain selectable when the player views the promotion menu after adding and confirming all available points. Lovely. Addressed a reported issue with where the rewards menu would appear without unlocking anything new, and made improvements to late game performance and multiplayer stability. And then finally, we've got changes to text, which we're not going to read, because if we could read, we would be very, very mad. And we got some changes to tooltips, changes to narrative, changes to audio, and that is it. All right, well, that's part one of this video. We've taken a look at the patch notes. Overall, you know, as mentioned by the devs themselves, this is a pretty bare bones patch. It's purely because they're working on something a lot meatier that hopefully will be coming to us within the next couple of months. I'm incredibly excited for that. Let's get into part two. Let's take a look at the brand new leader, Gilgamesh, because as I said, this leader is probably going to be one of the best leaders in the game. All right, let's talk about Gilgamesh. Once mortal, twice divine. So going over his abilities, +2 war support when only in one, or when in only one alliance, yes. When one of your military units defeats an enemy unit, gain influence equal to 50% of the defeated unit's combat strength. And all basic endeavors are automatically unlocked. Now, basic endeavor is that endeavor that you send early on, the science endeavor, the cultural endeavor, and the other player can choose whether they want to accept it, reject it, or support it, and you'll either get a 4 science, a 6 science if they support it, or no science if they reject it. So all of them are unlocked. Endeavors with allies don't count against the limit of having one endeavor of a given type, because you can only have one. Typically, if we were going to go and play Frederick, we'd only be able to do one cultural endeavor. If we were going to play Catherine, we could only do one scientific. Now, if we were going to play Benjamin Franklin, he does have the ability to have 2 endeavors of the same type active at a time. It can be with people that aren't his allies, but in this case, Gilgamesh, in the event that you are his ally, or in the event that he has an ally and he has an agreement with that, then it will not count towards it. This is so incredibly powerful. Endeavors with allies don't count against the limit of having one endeavor of a given type active at a time, and allies can support your endeavors for free. So Gilgamesh is an incredible ally, like by far the best ally that there is, for so many reasons. But look, let's get into it. Let's break it down. This is probably going to be a bit longer part of the video, that is for sure, just simply because I love this leader. I think he's so much fun. To me, he's very similar in a way to Tubman. And that's simply because you've got that extra war support. So if we take a look at Harriet Tubman, where are you? Harriet, H. There we are. No, you're right next to us. You get 5 war support on all wars declared against you, which makes people not really want to declare war on her. And in the event that they do, you've got an easier time. I feel like it's very much similar with Gilgamesh. And even in the event that, like, you've only got one alliance, then you get +2 war support. And then in the event that you've got more than one alliance, then you've got a whole lot of friends that are going to back you up. Like, it's going to be so hard declaring war on this guy. But anyway, so what's the general strategy? Well, I think there's 2 general strategies with this leader. The first one is very much focused on war. So you'd take one ally, you'd pick up that one alliance war support bonus, and then you'd look to go to war, and then you could use that influence that you're gaining from killing the enemy units to either fund your desire for more endeavors, or you could potentially look to throw it into war support, which would just be so damn oppressive, because you just have all this influence, incredible war support already. So I think stacking war support is going to be quite powerful for him. So look out for things like Gate of All Nations, which means he's got a very good synergy with Persia, just simply because they do have that bonus towards Gate of All Nations, even though it's hard to see him see the writing rather behind that beautiful peck that we've got. But yeah, that would be the first way. The second way, I think, is very much more focused on just ecoing, basically. Just completely focused on city building, base building, all that good stuff that we love to do. And that's simply because there are so many ways that you can build friendships. And like, I played a game through with him. Let me show you some of his bonuses that you're able to get. So if we take a look here, we've got, this one is, in my opinion, the best one. Magic Plant, the key to immortality. So this is his level 2 bonus. Friendly greetings give 100% more relationship increase, or 100% relationship increase. So normally a friendly greeting would give 20. Now it gives 40. And because of this, it means that you're very, very close to actually making an alliance with someone. You need to get to 60 to make an alliance with somebody. And because of the fact that you can send any agreement early on, it means that you are able to actually do that, right? Like, if you're playing a leader, let's find a terrible leader, economic militaristic. You're playing a Mina. You meet someone early on. You don't want to send them like, hey, do you want some gold? Like, no, I don't want to do that. That's a waste. It's a waste of influence early on. Hey, do you want some extra military power? No, I don't want that. So Amina has a lot more difficulty building relationships with other leaders because she doesn't have those endeavors that are favorable. Someone like Catherine definitely could, because for me personally, and I'm sure for most of you guys, cultural and scientific endeavors are things that you want to send, right? You want to build those early yields and try and bring them up as high as you can, and she's a great way of doing that, whereas Amina, not so much. The science, the culture, they're the important ones. And because of that, you can send scientific and cultural endeavors immediately. And what it means, and this is something that I've noticed, so the mementos that I've taken Silk Utaria, and then I've also taken, with that one, the magic plant. And that's the combo that I've been going for. And then that way, what's happening is I've got the nice base extra production on my capital and on all my cities. And then I've also got relationships that build very quickly, out of the gates, 40 relationships straight away, and then immediately sending them back-to-back agreements. I've been sending them 3 agreements initially, so I do actually send them the gold one. And this is just, you get an alliance within like 10 turns of meeting them, 15 turns of meeting them. They become an ally, then you meet the next person, use the magic plant to do that, and basically you just keep rinsing and repeating. And I literally played a game before where I had 6 allies, and I was just like, okay, this is kind of broken. I have 6 allies. I'm just constantly putting my endeavors through to them. And obviously when you've got 6 allies and they're all supporting your endeavors for free, that means that you've got 36 culture that's coming in for free, 36 science that's coming in for free, 36 gold per turn that's coming in for free. You've got a whole bunch. Oh, don't even get me started on ginseng agreement. Oh my lord, do we dare. There are so many good things about this leader. So ginseng agreement is the unique agreement that you get that allows you to get food for your cities, but you're only able to send it once normally. Well, not for Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh can send it as many times as he likes, so you can send that 6 times, and now you've got 6 times the food coming into your cities, and it makes you grow so quickly. Such a really cool design. I'm a big fan of it. When it comes to his age unlocks, I don't even know what he unlocks, but the fact that he unlocks the Abbasid is going to be great. The Chola, that's great. Modern, I'm not too familiar with the strength of these civs, but let's just jump back in and take a look at the other bonuses that he's got as a leader. So his other mementos that we've got, +2 settlement, or +2 happiness in all settlements while you have exactly 1 ally. So I think this would more be themed about that whole idea of just having 1 ally, obviously. And then +1 influence in all settlements when you have exactly 1 ally. So Miku right here could be quite good. Now, there is also another one from, I think it's Simon Bolivar. Yeah, he gets +20 food when only in, or when in only 1 alliance. Hold on. Why have we got different words for this? We're going to have to... Devs, you're going to have to fix this up. Which one is it? Are we in an alliance or do we have 1 ally? You get the idea. But yeah, so you can use gold snuff box as well. I don't think he's got any others for 1 specific ally. Yeah. But this is another synergy that you could potentially use. So you could have like the extra 20% food. But I feel like if you're going to go for the extra 20% food, like you're probably focusing a bit more on economy, not so much on military. So it would benefit you a lot more to just have more alliances and then not have this and have something else. If you were going to play military, I suspect you'd probably look to take a little bit more aggressive mementos, something like Bicorn Hat. Let's see if we can find it in here. There we go. So Bicorn Hat gives you the extra infantry movement, so this would be really nice. You could look for something like the extra XP on commanders, or yeah, probably something like this, +2 combat strength for units adjacent to 2 or more enemy units. You know, something like that is if you're going to play the military style, it's most likely going to be that, and not necessarily where you just have that extra 20% food. But other than that, he's also got another cool little bonus that we've got. So, where is it? If we go down far enough, we should find it. Hold on. Have I missed it? Oh, here. Diplomatic attribute node. So this is a 3rd tier diplomatic attribute node, and because he's a diplomatic leader, he's got access to this. So 25 or +25% relationship from starting or supporting endeavors, and -25% relationship from starting sanctions or rejecting endeavors. So basically, this allows you to build relationships even faster with people now. So if you've unlocked this, it's going to be incredibly quick. Now, keep in mind, this is a 3rd tier diplomatic attribute node, so you're not going to be getting this particularly easy. You could technically take, instead of magic plant, you could look to take something like Treaty of Kadesh, and then on top of that, you could then take Treaty of Kadesh. You could get the Diplo point from that. You could get the Diplo point from choosing a Diplo Civ. So if we chose something like Greece as an example, they're a Diplo Civ. So when like you do your first Suze, you're going to get a Diplo point for it. And I think when you get your first ally, you'll also get a Diplo point there. So there's 3 Diplo points that you can get. But as I said, I think if you were going to do it, then you'd probably still want to run that bonus percentage that he's got. It's very, very powerful. Where is it? Over here. Very cool art as well, Magic Plant. I'll just say that. It's very, very nice. So, yeah, let's move in, though, a bit more to synergies with civilizations, because for me, there's a really big one that just stands out, and that is Greece. Greece is just by far, out of the gates, incredibly powerful for him. One of the things to remember is because, as I suspect, like, you want to be friends with everybody, and you want to be allies with everybody so that you can send them agreements. So you always need to have influence in the bank. So it's incredibly important that you never use your last little bit of influence. You always need to have at least 20 in the bank, ideally 40 in case you meet 2 people in the same turn, because you need to be able to give them friendly agreements, or friendly greetings. If you don't do that, then you're missing out on 40 relationship. And then there's the potential that they can denounce you, and once they've denounced you, it's all over. You know, that it's like that negative feedback loop where they denounce you, then they start rejecting your things because they're already on bad terms with you because they're denouncing you. So yeah, it's kind of, to be honest, Gilgamesh is playing the game on easy mode. That's what it feels like. But so far, I've really enjoyed Greece. I think Greece makes a lot of sense. Han could also make sense as well. You can't see it right here, but in their unique civic tree, they do have access to more influence. On top of that, he also gets a quest. I don't know if it's unique to Gilgamesh or if it's just brand new to the Diplo tree, but he gets a quest. Actually, it's probably unique to him. I'm thinking because of Jose Rizal's got like unique stuff to him, so this is probably unique to him. He gets a +3 influence quest very early, and like you are getting this. Like let's. I'll just go into a game right now. Just give me a second here. Let me see how early it comes. Okay, so we're here on turn 9, and this is the narrative choice that I've been given. So as Gilgamesh's court grows, so does its duties, and so does its drudgery. The great king paces the stone floors like a bull, head held high, railing at his subjects. I'll tell you what, I can't read today. And flying into fits of rage, something must be done. So new horizons, new faces, new experience to distract from the dullness of home. Activate 3 more discoveries, okay, and that will give us 3 influence on the palace. Or we can go for 15% production towards training cavalry, so this one comes on a lot later, and that's to use the levy unit action on a city-state. Or we could just take 25 science right now. But 3 influence this early is incredible. And part of this makes me think you don't actually need to play as Greece, just because you're already getting that +3 influence. So it's going to have a lot less impact with essentially you having more influence than most other leaders. Like when you're playing as Machiavelli, you've already got a base of 3 influence, so you don't feel like you have to pick Greece. Of course, it's nice to stack them up, but yeah, that's essentially it. Let's take a look and see how long it takes us to get this, though. Okay, just quickly, I know this isn't meant to be a playthrough, but anyway, have a look at this. 20 influence, 40 relationship, 143. Immediately, Saida Al-Hura. Now, keep in mind, we don't want her to send an agreement to us because she doesn't have the best agreements. If we take a look at her leader attributes, I don't think we can actually see it, but I think it's cultural, if I remember correctly, which isn't terrible. Actually, no, it's based on... Excuse me. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to send her. So she's already 40. So now we can send her. Technically, we could send her 2. Now, we've only met 1 player. We've got 13. So if we do this, she supports it. She should have the influence to support this one as well. But she's only accepted it. So we're at 13. So when we roll over next turn, we'll have enough to do a friendly greeting again. So we're technically safe, even if we meet someone. We probably shouldn't move, though. She did just take this goodie hut from us. And that's a bit of an issue, because we need to get those goodie huts. And we need to make sure that we grab them. We need to get at least 3 for that agreement. Well, not that agreement, but that extra 3 influence. So that's the goal for us. Anyway, I'll roll you over to the time that we actually get the 3. Okay, and here we are on turn 16, having just secured a goodie hut right here, and there is our 3 influence. So that takes us up to 16 influence per turn now. And of course, we've met 3 leaders, and they're all super duper happy with us. We've got 40, we've got 42 here, we got another 40 right here, and this is, of course, building up every second that goes on. Once we get into an alliance with her, we're then going to be able to send the research collaboration, the cultural exchange, over to Harriet Tubman, who will then, get into an alliance with, that will then, once we're in an alliance with her, then we can send it to Genghis Khan. It just keeps, like, boosting and boosting and boosting. It's incredible. It's lovely. It's so nice. It's such a super cool way to play it. Now, with regard to further synergy, I do feel like Greece is probably going to be the best. There's a couple reasons why. Number one, when it comes to a militaristic approach, obviously you've got the war support, so that's nice, but the fact that you also get the 50% of the defeated unit's combat strength in influence is even nicer. It means that you're typically going to be looking for fights, and obviously Greece has got very, very strong hoplites, so they've got that going for them. On top of that, if we take a look at the unique civics for the Greek, there is one in particular that is very, very strong, and that is Delian League, and that gives you 30% influence towards initiating endeavors. Now, keep in mind that when your endeavor, is there a reason why we can't wish? Oh my god, the nest, not the time right now. The nested tooltips aren't working. Hold on, inspect K. Really? I have to press, like, I can't just hover over it? That seems a little bit silly, I'm going to say right now. It should at least stay up on the screen for a little bit. And can I just say that with regard to the animation, I don't like how it just immediately pops there. Like, there should be a very quick fade. Come on, like, give it a 0.5 second, 0 opacity to 100% opacity. So we have to hit K, and then we can click Endeavors. Endeavors are positive diplomatic actions between two leaders that benefit both civilizations and increase their relationship. So basically, our endeavors become cheaper to send. And that's another thing to note. As your relationship gets better with these other leaders, it becomes cheaper to send the agreements. So it's wonderful. By the end of it, like, you're running like 47 different agreements. And I mean, I haven't even talked about it yet, but where's the extra culture? There is +2 culture for active endeavors, sanctions, and projects that you started or supported. And if we look at how many you can do right now with Tubman, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can do 6 right now. We could send 6 to Tubman, not including Ginseng Agreement, which becomes available a little bit later if we take a look down here in Antiquity. And whereabouts is it? Over here in Citizenship, Emil Bell. So we also get the Ginseng Agreement, so now we've got a 7th one that we can send. So if you send 7 to 5 people, that's 35, so you're getting an extra 70 culture just from that, which is just insanity. Anyway, we're going to leave it there. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. I'm incredibly excited to play Gilgamesh. I'm going to go play him now, do a recorded game, and have some fun. Let me know what you reckon. What do you reckon? Anyway, we'll catch you in the next one. Thank you very much for watching.